Oh, hello. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Uh, and welcome. I'm just trying to figure out how to push all the buttons correctly. Now I've got lots of buttons I'm pushing. I believe that I am live on YouTube, on Rockfin, and on Call-In. So welcome, everyone. I don't know. I did a little troubleshooting. I think maybe the video will be better today. I don't know about the audio, but we'll see how it goes. My face is really big on StreamYard. I don't know. If you can see me on YouTube, give me a hello. I just got a hello. Thank you, William. All right, great. Lots of people on Rockfin. Scott Andrew says Kevin's late, not a good sign. I'm always late, a few minutes late. I don't know. I think that's a sign that everything is quite normal. On left channel only, not a good sign. As I said, I think the video is going to be better, but I don't know about the audio. So I didn't really tried to troubleshoot the audio a little bit, and I don't know about how that went. It's another hot day, but not quite as hot as it was yesterday, so let's hope. It's weird, though, because my, oh, I see what's happening. All right, I've got to change that, but I can't change it right now. I don't know if I can do that midstream. Let's see. Maybe I can. For fear of trashing everything, oh, I don't know if I can do that. All right, I can't do a midstream, so yeah, my face will just be really big in this video. Yes. The plan is working. I have a giant face. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh, this could be slowing things down. All right. So I want to cover the story about carbon offsets very briefly. I'm not going to super deeply read into this. And I see that nobody's seeing this. It may not even matter because everything's going to look so huge. No? Oh, there we go. Everything is going to look so big. Anyway, so what is happening in Mexico is that BP, British Petroleum, is paying rural Mexicans a pittance for Wall Street's favorite climate solutions. So we know that carbon offsets and carbon credits are a big fat scam. I don't know why people are still talking about them as a solution. Oh, what we got to do is give people a financial incentive to save the environment. I can tell you right now, that is a loser. Why? Because financial incentives killed the environment. You think financial incentives are going to save the environment? I don't think so. I don't think so. Hold on. I just want to see how crazy this looks on StreamYard or on Rockfin. Yeah. Okay, I'm not even on the screen. Great. Okay, well, something else to troubleshoot later. Sorry, guys. We'll go back to it. I'm half off the screen. That's great. At least I'll put, no, I didn't want to do that. At least I'll put my head over here, okay? Hi. Hello. Anyways, the oil giant has found a Go away. Oil giant has found a climate bargain in some of Mexico's poorest areas, paying a fraction of market rate for carbon offsets to rural villagers working to protect their forests. So, treating them like migrant field workers in their own country, right? How about $1 an hour to pick these grapes? Is that fair? Well, in my home country of Mexico, we make 20 cents an hour. So this $1 an hour is awesome. But they're actually very upset about this, the people of Mexico. In 2019, Coatatilas, leaders thought they'd found a way to protect the dwindling forests and bring a serious change to a local economy where the average person earns only $6.40 a day when they can find work. One of the world's most prestigious climate nonprofits, the World Resources Institute, was helping run a program that pays villages to reforest their communally owned woods and improve forestry management. Participation would bring in cash from oil giant BP plc, which would ultimately purchase carbon credits that the villagers generated, along with further funding from a U.S. government agency. Right, so BP is getting funding from a U.S. government agency and the money from the carbon credits, and then shorting the villagers. That's basically what's happening. After 2 years of work, the village got its first annual payment in late 2021. The pay, split among 133 members of the community, amounted to about $40 each. Do the math, right? A fraction of what the village's then leader Alvaro Tepetla expected. He'd hoped they could earn as much as $44,000 in total per year, or at least match the $8,100 paid by a recently canceled government conservation program. The final sum was 30% lower and worth a little more than a week's work per person. The program is funded using carbon offsets, a financial tool that aims to fight climate change by turning carbon dioxide captured by protecting trees into a valuable commodity. Each offset should equal a ton of carbon absorbed thanks to changes driven by the promise of payment. BP, as a buyer of the credits, would be rewarding the community for its care for forests while acquiring an asset that can be held as an investment or sold to third parties and used to write off corporate carbon emissions. BP has found a carbon bargain in some of Mexico's poorest areas and more than a dozen places identified by Bloomberg Green. The oil company has bought offsets at an enormous discount, according to interviews with 18 people across 3 states and Mexico City who have been involved in the program or approached to join it. By paying $4 per offset to subsistence farmers in remote areas with less education and internet, BP has handed over around 15% of what others are now offering for offsets from Mexican projects. 15%, that's quite a discount. After learning about the pay disparity from Bloomberg Green's reporting, community members in Coatatilas said they confronted one of WRI's local contractors. Weeks later, the contractor told the village that BP had agreed to increase their pay. Kathy Gregoire, executive director of leading Mexican environmental nonprofit Pro Natura, Mexico AC, which administers the project, says following negotiations, BP is committed to paying a floating amount based on market price, but she didn't provide any further details. The project, named CO2 Munitario, spans 59 communities in more than half a dozen states and covers around 200,000 hectares of land. BP put forward $2.5 million to start the program in 2019, which was matched by U.S. aid. The U.S. government's development arm in 2021, the oil giant inked a deal with Pro Natura to buy as many as 1.5 million offsets at $4 each. The price is a ripoff, said Benjamin Rontard, a climate researcher in central Mexico who wrote his doctoral thesis on Mexico's carbon market at the Autonomous University of San Luis Potosi. They're taking advantage of campesinos who don't have any other option for economic activity. What do they pay for, what's the math there? 1.5 million offsets at $4 each. That's a lot of money, right? And what did they pay out to this particular group of campesinos? About $6,000. The offset market, where traders buy and sell Wall Street's favorite climate solution, surged to $1 billion last year, but doubts about the offset project's legitimacy have plunged the future of the new commodity into uncertainty. A major U.S. offset supplier told Bloomberg Green that most projects, including some of his own, are shortchanging the climate. Of course they are. An Australian ex-official described projects there as largely a sham. Bloomberg NEF, a clean energy research group, says the market could either skyrocket past $100 billion or crumble without improvements in quality. All right. I'm going to leave the reading of the article there, but we know that carbon offsets are a big old sham, a scam, and are not going to help the environment. It's a way to move money around and play three-card Monte with the climate. And it allows, what's the basic idea behind carbon offsets? The basic premise is to allow companies to continue polluting and buy their way with these offsets out of being held responsible for the pollution they're creating, right? And on some levels, it's they're masking the damage they're doing to the environment by saying, like, look, we're helping the climate over here by purchasing these climate offsets. That is not going to help the climate. What's going to help the climate is shutting these companies down. Period. End of story. There's no other answer in my mind. That's my opinion, but I think it holds up to actual reality. The only answer is to, greatly stunt the economic activity of these companies or stop it altogether. But of course, there are economic implications of it. If you do stuff like that, you probably end up crashing the whole economy. Boo-hoo. For some people, we have two, interesting ideas. Well, actually, I'm not going to get into that right now. Maybe I'll talk about that a little more on Rockfin later. But you would definitely, taking real action on climate change would definitely impact the economy. Why? Because the economy is what is making climate change. There was a famous quote, I think, by an ex-president about it's the economy, ... But we're going to move on to another climate story I wanted to cover before we sign off of YouTube. YouTube's getting a nice long show today. But we'll look at this. I actually saw this on the Twitter, and then Osama sent me a link confirming that I was going to talk about this today. And so let's look at this story from Inside Climate News. Space tourism poses a significant risk to the climate. Well, yes. Yes, it does. Rockets launched by billionaires Elon Musk and Richard Branson emit black carbon into the stratosphere. I think we've talked about this before. It's probably not new news. Anyways, they emit black carbon in the stratosphere, where it is 500 times worse for the climate than it is on Earth. Billionaire Jeff Bezos' rockets burn liquid hydrogen and oxygen and pose a lesser climate threat. However, still a climate threat. The burgeoning space tourism industry could soon fuel significant global warming while also depleting the protective ozone layer that is crucial for sustaining life on Earth. My friends and neighbors, that ozone layer is already shredded, as evidenced by UV readings of like 12 and 11 every single day in the United States, in most of the United States. And I show the link basically every single day. I showed it yesterday. Easily verifiable that our ozone layer is pretty much gone or going away. The findings published Thursday in Earth's Future raise additional concerns about the billionaire space race fueled by some of the world's richest men. The key focus of the study was emissions of black carbon or soot from the combustion of rocket fuel. I mean, they're just talking about the space race and these billionaires, but are they even talking about the military or the militaries of the world and how much black carbon they've shot into the stratosphere over the last few decades? No, mum's the word. Black carbon, which comes from burning fossil fuels or biomass, absorbs light from the sun and releases thermal energy, making it a powerful climate warming agent. At lower altitudes, black carbon quickly falls from the sky, remaining in the atmosphere for only a matter of days or weeks. However, as rockets blast into space, they emit black carbon into the stratosphere, where it remains, absorbing sunlight and radiating heat for up to 4 years before falling back down to Earth. Black carbon emitted in the stratosphere is nearly 500 times worse for the climate than similar emissions on or near the surface of the Earth, the study found. Excuse me. Black carbon emissions from all space flights are currently relatively low, but could quickly increase if projections for the growth of space tourism prove correct. Again, no mention of the military and all the cruising they do in space. We probably don't even have any numbers on that. We probably can't get any numbers on that. But we'll focus on the billionaires. A big ramp up in the number of space launches, which is hoped for by the space tourism industry. Again, it's the economy. Always the economy is more important than the climate, and it will remain that way until everything is shredded and gone, and then we'll go, oh, maybe we should have thought about that one. Space tourism industry, so all of this poses a risk to the climate by adding black carbon particles to the upper atmosphere, and as a result, we should think very carefully about regulating this industry before it gets out of hand. What are you going to do? Sell carbon offsets? How are you going to regulate? You can't even regulate any of the industries destroying the climate right now. As evidenced, you can't. Nobody's doing it. If you regulate the industry sufficiently, you're going to impact the economies of the planet. And what is always, takes precedent? It's the economy, the military, the fossil fuels. Always takes precedent over everything else. So they're not going to regulate that. And it's probably not going to stop. It's not going to stop until nature says, all right, I've had it. That is when it's going to stop, unfortunately. And as evidenced by the next article that I'm going to cover, however, I'm going to cover that article on Rockfin. So thanks all to the YouTubers for hanging out on YouTube, but I'm going to sign off YouTube now, and we're going to continue the show on Rockfin.